Alrighty, hello YouTube, welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I currently go by the YouTube handle Cryptic Lovecraft, although as I keep saying, I'm thinking about changing that. But until then, Cryptic Lovecraft it is. Alright, so today I have a book haul. Most of the books are going to be Christopher Pike. However, there is at least one exception that I'm aware of. So I want to unbox my haul in front of you guys. So here's the first one. Alright, I am really excited about this. So when I first started this YouTube channel, I was talking about like rock and metal related things, and I do plan on getting back into that, but I also like, nostalgic things from like the 90s, 80s, 70s, and like horror and vampires and things of that nature. So I do plan on getting back into like the rock and the metal stuff later, but for now I've just been kind of doing some book hauls, or book stuff. Alright, so I am very excited for this thing right here. Okay, I'm just going to show it. Okay, it's a hardback copy of wow, there's a Barnes & Noble receipt in here. Vampire Lestat, $32.26. The receipt to this Barnes & Noble is from the same city that I live in. I think it came from overseas. I ordered it on eBay. Alright, so here's the thing. I always wanted a copy of this book in hardback, and I never had it. And I kept holding out, like, one day I'll find it at a thrift store. Never found it at a thrift store. They were always kind of pricey online. Then last month, poor sweet Anne Rice died. Rest in peace, Anne. She passed away, and I ended up getting online to buy some of her books, and I realized that the prices had gone up to some extent, this being no exception. And then when I found out that like first edition hardcover copies of this book were going for like $200, I was like, well, they're certainly not going down. And now that she passed away, there's a TV show based on the Vampire Chronicles coming out this year. These books are not going to get any cheaper, so I pulled the trigger, and I think I paid about like $70 for this book, and this is a 27th printing. Ideally, I would have liked a first printing, but the point is that I always wanted a copy in hardback, and now I have it, and I feel at peace. I really do. I'm so glad to own this, and I can't wait to reread it. Okay. So, moving on from the Vampire Lestat hardback, which, I'm so excited to have now and hold in my hands and look at with my eyes. Yes, couldn't be happier about that. I'm going to go for this one first, because this one seems like it'll be a little bit easier. Ziploc bag. I'll take it. Nice packaging from the seller. Oh, okay. So these are Christopher Pike books, and see, this is ironic because Anne Rice and Christopher Pike are my all-time favorite authors. So right here, I got Vampire, or The Last Vampire 2, Black Blood. The Last Vampire 3, Red Dice, which I already own a copy of. I had the first 3 books when I was a kid. I never had book 4. I never had book 5. and I never had book 6. Book 6 is in kind of bad condition, but that's okay. The spine is pretty good. The cover's just a little bent, but that's cool. That's cool. I'm not mad. Not one bit. Yeah. So I finally have books 2 through 6. Really excited. I never finished reading the series when I was a kid, and he was, even back then, he was my favorite author. I don't want to spend too much time on the rest of those books because I only read the first 2, even though I had the first 3. Alright, so the final package that I have, that I received today, is The Last Vampire 1, so I now own the whole set. I know that he's got more books in the work, but what's out there on the market, I finally have all of them, okay? I really enjoyed The Last Vampire when I was a teenager. I think I was like in 7th or 8th grade when I first read it. I also read The Vampire Diaries by L.J. Smith that year. And I've said this before, what I really like about Christopher Pike is that, I was about to say Christopher Rice, Wilde. Anyway, what I like about Christopher Pike is that, similar to R.L. Stine, he was really able to captivate the imaginations and the hunger in, young people when they read his literature. R.L. Stine, his stuff was like really, really entertaining, really clever, and well written, I would say. But Christopher Pike, he was like kind of a spiritual guy in real life, from what I hear, and so he would sprinkle little nuggets of like spirituality and Eastern philosophy and things like that into his books, and they would be like really deep and profound and wise. The cool thing about The Last Vampire, it's been it's been over 20 years since I've read this book, and I've heard this old adage that the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. The first time I ever heard that, I read it in this book, and I thought that was just something that Christopher Pike had made up, but every time I hear somebody, use that phrase, I always remember The Last Vampire. Alright, moving on. Sadie. Now, I had a copy of this book once upon a time, and I read it. It was over 10 years ago. I was an adult. I always wanted to read this book because I remember when I was a kid, I had a Christopher Pike book, and in the back there was an advertisement for one of his books for adults, and he just said it was called Sadie, and it's just about some weird woman, some weird lady. And I finally bought it when I was like in my 20s, but at the time, I was really religious. I was a Christian, and I kind of had a problem with the book. I had a problem with the fact that essentially what he did was he turned Sadie into Jesus Christ. So he turned Jesus into a woman, and at the time that just didn't sit right for me. It felt kind of blasphemous. I'm no longer religious, but I am still friendly towards the faith. I kind of consider myself to be somewhat of an ally of the Judeo-Christian tradition. But now that I'm older and my beliefs have changed and things like that, I'd be really curious to read it with my modern day lenses on, and try to see what kind of value I can take from what he did there. And this is not the cover that I had over 10 years ago. I would actually like to find a copy of the book with that particular cover. There was also a cookie recipe in the back at the time of that that copy, because the cookies were relevant to the story. And no cookie recipe in this one. Let me just double check. Nope, no cookies. I'm not really much of a sweets or a dessert person, but I would actually like to try those cookies. Okay, and one last book, and I never even knew about it. I never knew about this one. And I think the reason why is because, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that this book came out in 1995. I never knew about this one, The Cold One. So this is one that I'll definitely be reading soon. It's one of his books for adults. It's called The Cold One. I never knew about it. I've never seen it before, so yeah, I'm excited. So let's just recap, okay? So I got my Anne Rice Vampire Lestat in hardback, and it is in beautiful condition. It's only a 27th. Okay, the receipt from Barnes & Noble in my city, that is wild. That is wild. In my next video, just for fun, I'll even tell you where the seller was located, because I bought this online, and the seller does not live in my city, so that is wild. Yeah, so this is the 27th printing, and I'm perfectly content with that. At least it's a hardback, you know. I do have the paperback still, the one that I read in high school. So then I also have Christopher Pike's two adult novels, The Cold One, Sadie, and I have all six of the Last Vampires, and books 2 and 3 have some step back art. So if you look at the cover, that's really interesting. I like that. Okay, and then funny story, I actually read these out of order. When I was like in 4th grade, they had this for sale at Walmart because it was like out at the time, and I had my mom buy it for me, and I read this about 3/4 of the way through, and I was a little lost, and I never finished it. And then when I got to middle school, like 7th, 8th grade or whatever, that's when I read these two. And the copy that I had at the time, I don't know if it got lost or I gave it away or it got beat up and I threw it away. I have no idea, but I'm really, really excited. I'm really excited to finally be at an age where, you know, I have these things. It's awesome. It's awesome. All right, well, thank you guys very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed, and please let me know if you're excited about the Anne Rice show that's coming out. Again, Anne Rice, rest in peace. And let me know if you also enjoyed Christopher Pike books. Tell me what was your favorite one. All right, thank you guys for watching. Horns up, peace out.